כמה זמן זה each? One of the topics which will be a hot topic in the Jubilee 10th Congress of Autoimmunity in Leipzig will be the mosaic of autoimmunity. Actually, in 1988, when we have published our book with the title The Mosaic of Autoimmunity, we had a list of different factors which were major factors involving in induction of autoimmunity. But during the last 50 years, we have seen in the Jubilee International Congress of Autoimmunity in Leipzig, one of the hot topics will be the change that happens in the factors influencing autoimmune diseases. Actually, in the last 50 years, we have seen an avalanche, an epidemic of autoimmune diseases mounting to almost 10 to 20% of the population being affected by one of the 80 different autoimmune diseases. When we have written our first book, The Mosaic of Autoimmunity, in 1988, many of the novel factors that appeared later on were not mentioned among the factors involved in autoimmune diseases. Just to mention few of them, obesity, which became also as an epidemic in many countries, especially in the affluent countries. And it has been found that the obesity may be one of the major factors in inducing autoimmune disease. The fat organ is not anymore inert. It can produce adiponectin and other different cytokines which can induce by themselves inflammatory cytokines from IL-1 to IL-17 and so forth. Another major factor which is involved in autoimmunity and most probably was neglected in our book in 1988 is the impact of smoking. And it has been found that smoking is not only important in rheumatoid arthritis associated with HLA DRB1 inducing the anti-CCP, but it has been found to be instrumental in systemic lupus erythematosus as well as in other autoimmune diseases. Vaccines. We are aware that vaccines are a major has major impact on our health, but yet in some individuals who have the tendency to develop autoimmune diseases, namely that they have an HLA or genetic background which make them hyperactive, in those individual vaccine can induce autoimmune diseases. So all these major new factors will be discussed in special sessions on obesity and autoimmunity, vaccine and autoimmunity, smoking and autoimmunity, and the lecture will be delivered by the well-known international expert in the field. See you in Leipzig, April 2017.
Okay, then. Ready.
In the International Congress, the Jubilee of Autoimmune Congresses in Leipzig in 2016, we will have different hot topics, and one of them will be the mosaic of autoimmunity. When we have written the book in 1988, we had a large list of factors which were already found to associate and most probably to induce autoimmune conditions. Yet, during these years, we had an avalanche of cases, actually an epidemic of autoimmune diseases affecting almost between 10 to 20% of the population, which they are affected by one of the 80 autoimmune different diseases. And when we look on the different factors which were revealed in these 30 years, we found that none of them were mentioned in the original book. Some of them relate to the fact that smoking, one of them is the obesity, which was not mentioned in our original book. Also, obesity became epidemic. And what we have realized that the fat system is not anymore inert to the immune system, and it produces different inflammatory cytokines like adipokines that can by themselves induce IL-1, IL-17, and in this way enhance or induce different autoimmune diseases. Smoking, which was found to be instrumental in rheumatoid arthritis, by inducing anti-CCP, especially in conjunction with a genetic marker HLA-DRB1, has been found to be instrumental also in other autoimmune diseases. Most probably by inhaling the smoke, you change different autoantigens in your lungs. And last but not least, even though there will be many other factors, are vaccines, which are very important in our health to prevent infectious diseases, but still, in those who have a hyperactive immune system, people with specific HLA-DRB1 haplotypes, they may react and respond to those vaccines by inducing autoimmune reaction. And therefore, in our meeting in April 2017 in Leipzig, we will have special sessions on vaccine and autoimmunity, on smoking and autoimmunity, and obesity and autoimmunity, which will, the lecture be delivered by world expert in the field. See you in Leipzig 2017. אל תעצור. See you in Leipzig in the Congress of Autoimmunity in April 2016. אתה תוכל לבנות את זה?
אנחנו נחבר כי יש שם, אז לא מההתחלה.
Therefore, in the Congress of Autoimmunity in 2016 in Leipzig, we will have special sessions on this subject. We will have obesity and autoimmunity, we will have smoking and autoimmunity, as well as vaccination and autoimmunity. These sessions will be the lectures in these sessions will be delivered by world experts in the fields. Hello, the family of autoimmunity. In the Congress of Autoimmunity, the Jubilee 10th ones, which will take place in April 2016 in Leipzig, we will have novel and hot subjects. One of the hot subjects will be actually the subject of the mosaic of autoimmunity. When we have edited the book, The Mosaic of Autoimmunity in 1988, we have a large list of causes that were found to associate and to induce autoimmune diseases. Since then, we had an avalanche, actually an epidemic of different autoimmune diseases, and more than 10 to 20% of the population suffer from one out of the 80 different autoimmune diseases. This indicates that there were new factors evolving during the modern life. And during the meeting, we will discuss at least 3 novel factors. One of them will be obesity and autoimmunity. And it has been found that the fat system is not anymore inert to the immune system, but it can secrete different adipokines, which by themselves can lead to increased level of inflammatory cytokines like IL-1 and IL-17. Another subject that will be discussed will be smoking and autoimmunity. Originally, it has been found to be involved with anti-CCP in rheumatoid arthritis associated with the genetic marker of HLA-DRB1, and during the years it has been found to be instrumental in the different autoimmune diseases. Namely, when you smoke, you actually change the structure and the composition of autoantigens in their lungs, and then it can lead to the induction of different autoimmune diseases. And last but not least, vaccine. We are aware of the beneficial impact of vaccine on our health, but it has been found that there are some individuals with a genetic preponderance for a higher reaction. They have, by the way, benefits in evolution, and those may react differently to vaccine, and in some of them it may lead to the induction or to the emergence of autoimmune diseases. All these subjects will be discussed in Leipzig in April 2016 by a world expert in the different subjects. See you in April 2017, see you in April 2016 in Leipzig in the International Congress of Autoimmunity. האמת שאתה אפילו יכול להוריד את הטעות האחרונה. Hello, my dear friends in the family of autoimmunity. I hope to see all of you in Leipzig, April 2016, in the 10th Jubilee Congress of Autoimmunity. We will have different hot topics. One of the hot topics is prediction. Today we are at a stage that we can predict who will develop an autoimmune disease, when he will develop the autoimmune disease, and which are the organs that will be involved in this kind of diseases. But that's not the only thing that we can predict. We can predict who will respond to different modalities of therapies, and we can also predict who will develop side effects from different modalities. And therefore, prediction will be one of the leading subject in this meeting. We are aware that this prediction may be harnessed to develop different therapies to prevent autoimmune disease. One of them will be vitamin D, which has almost no side effect and has been shown in experimental models and in some clinical trials to be very beneficial for autoimmunity and preventing autoimmunity. So this is an ideal compound which has no side effect, does not need prescription of physician, and still can be useful hopefully to prevent different autoimmune disease. But in the future, maybe in some people who are at a higher risk of developing autoimmune disease, we should develop a vaccine against EB virus, a virus which is well known to induce at least 33 different autoimmune diseases. So these subjects should be vaccinated to prevent their exposure to EB virus. And therefore, this will be discussed in detail in several sessions in Leipzig, April 2016, in the Congress of Autoimmunity, and the prediction issue will be delivered by expert or world expert who did some studies, very famous studies, like some of the studies have shown that the incubation time of autoimmune diseases may take sometimes even 10 years. And therefore, we, physicians and scientists, have to be aware of those subjects who are at risk and to predict that they will develop the disease and take the measurements to prevent those autoimmune reactions. See you in Leipzig 2016 in the Congress of Autoimmunity. Hello, my dear friends in the family of autoimmunity. I hope to see you in the Congress of Autoimmune Diseases and Autoimmunity in Leipzig 2016. As you can imagine, we will have hot subject in this meeting. The world is moving toward personalized medicine, and this pertains also to autoimmune disease. We know that women are not reacting to drugs like men. We know that elderly people react differently to young people, but we know that also the genetic may determine your tendency either to develop autoimmune disease or actually to respond to the different drugs that are given to prevent or to cure or to treat autoimmune disease. Therefore, in this meeting in Leipzig, we will have special session which will be dedicated actually to the personalized medicine. It will pertain specifically to who should not be vaccinated. And we do know that some people have an hyperreactive reaction because they have different allotypes of HLA-DRB1 or A1B8-DR3, which make them more prone to develop autoimmune diseases. We also know that some of them may develop allergies to different drugs. And therefore, we will dedicate special sessions for personalized medicine, which will be delivered by experts in the field in April 2016 in Leipzig. אנחנו נעשה את זה עוד פעם. My dear friends in the family of autoimmunity, as you can imagine, in April 2016 in our Congress of Autoimmunity, the Jubilee one, the 10th one, which will be the biggest one, in which we are expecting more than 2,500 people, we will have special hot topics. One of the topics that we will pay attention to it will be actually the personalized medicine. The world is moving to personalized medicine, and we know that not everybody is equal to another one, neither in behavior of the disease nor in response to the therapy of the drugs. And therefore, we will dedicate several sessions in our meeting to personalized medicine. It pertains, for instance, to who should not be vaccinated or who should not be breast silicone implanted because she or he are more prone to develop a severe reaction and especially develop autoimmune disease because both the vaccine as well as the implants react as adjuvants, and if he or she have, for instance, HLA-DRB1, some haplotypes, or A1BA-DR3, which make them more prone to react aggressively to external factors, they may develop the autoimmune disease. And therefore, I hope to see you in April 2016 in Leipzig in those sessions of personalized medicine, which in some aspects will dedicate it also to who will respond to specific drugs and moreover who may react as having severe side effects. See you in Leipzig.
We're ready.
Hello, my dear friends in the family of autoimmunity. I hope that we will meet in our Jubilee Congress of Autoimmunity, the 10th one, which will be the biggest one so far in Leipzig, in which we are expecting more than 2,500 people from more than 80 different countries in the world. As usually, you would expect that in this meeting, both individuals as well as companies will present their novelties in therapeutic pathways. And indeed, in this meeting, we will have several sessions dedicated to novel therapies. Novel therapies can indicate actually peptide or small molecules.
Yeah, microphone. The microphone, sorry, is in black, so you can hear it in the sound.
איפה הפסקנו?
אפשר להתחיל את זה מההתחלה? זה בסדר?
Hello, my dear friends in the family of autoimmunity. I hope to see you, all of you, in the 10th Jubilee Congress of Autoimmunity in Leipzig, in Germany, April 2016, which will be the biggest congress so far, which we are expecting more than 2,500 participants. As usually in such congresses, you are expecting to hear about novel therapies. Novel therapies can include how to avoid corticosteroids or how to minimize the corticosteroid. Actually, myself, I believe that in 20 years, our young students will not be... Personally, I believe that the young students will not understand in 20 years how did we prescribe these toxic drugs of corticosteroids. But needless to say that we will dedicate several sessions to novel biological therapies in the different autoimmune diseases, as well as the indication, instructions, and how to use the biosimilars, which are infiltrating and penetrating the market. And last but not least, we will have novel therapies like small molecules or even novel therapies based on logical mechanisms which will be revealed and has been revealed in the induction of autoimmune disease. For instance, one of them will be small molecules which are based on the idea that helminths can prevent autoimmune diseases. What the helminths are secreting to prevent autoimmune diseases. Therefore, I hope to see all of you at the Jubilee Autoimmunity Congress in Leipzig in April 2016. Hello. Hello, my dear friend in the family of autoimmunity. I hope to see all of you in the Jubilee 10th Congress of Autoimmunity in Leipzig, April 2016, which will be the biggest meeting since we have started many years back with the first meeting in Tel Aviv. We are expecting more than 2,500 participants in this meeting. As you would expect, one of the hot subjects in this meeting will be novel therapies. Novel therapies will relate actually to new avenues which were revealed in the last years as being instrumental in the pathogenetic mechanisms of autoimmune diseases. It will include novel biologicals, but it will also relate to biosimilars, how to prescribe them, how to compare them to our original biological therapies, and so forth. But definitely we will have also small molecules. And I believe that the future is the future of small molecules, which will have less side effects that we are recognizing even with the biological. I would give you just an example. Most probably we will harness the idea how helminths can prevent autoimmune diseases. What do they secrete to prevent autoimmune disease? And can we generate small molecule which will imitate the immunomodulating effects of the helminths? And therefore, we will have several sessions which will be dedicated to these novel therapies in autoimmunity. And I hope to see all of you in April 2016 in Leipzig. Hello. Hello, my dear friends in the family of autoimmunity. I hope that we will meet at the Congress of Autoimmunity, the Jubilee one, 10th one, in Leipzig, April 2016. We are expecting more than 2,500 leaders, participants in this meeting. As you can imagine, we will have different hot topics. One of the topics will relate to the use and employment of corticosteroid in autoimmune disease. This is one of the mainstay of therapies to all the acute conditions in autoimmune diseases. Actually, 3 people received the Nobel Prize in 1954 delineating the function and the beneficial effect of corticosteroid. However, we pay a lot of tax for the corticosteroids. And in my feeling, in 20 years, the student will not understand how we have used corticosteroid with all their deleterious side effects. And therefore, one of the issues that we have to discuss is how to minimize corticosteroids, how to decrease properly the dosage of the corticosteroids, and how to wean and withdraw corticosteroid completely. And therefore, I believe that this will be one of the hot topics in the Congress of Autoimmunity in Leipzig, in which we will most probably predict, discuss, instruct how to treat autoimmune diseases without corticosteroids. I hope to see you in Leipzig in 2014, April, with all the participants of the Congress.
Ready, go.
My dear friends, clinicians, researchers, lab technicians who are involved in treatment as well as diagnostic and research of autoimmune diseases, I hope to see you together at the Congress of Autoimmunity, the Jubilee 1, 10th one, which will take place in April in 2016 in Leipzig, where we are expecting more than 2,500 participants. As you can imagine, we will have different hot topics. And one of the hot topics which we will discuss will be corticosteroids. Actually, in 1954, when 3 people received the Nobel Prize, when they detailed and deciphered actually the role of corticosteroids, these drugs became the mainstay and the cornerstones of therapies in different autoimmune diseases, especially at the acute exacerbations. Yet, we pay a lot for these therapies by deleterious side effects. And my feeling is that in 20 years, our students will not understand how did we prescribe these drugs. Yet, we have to learn how to wean the patients from corticosteroids, how to reduce the dosages in the proper way, when to use the corticosteroid and when not to use the corticosteroid. There are now different systems to try to treat even the acute conditions with a combination of biological immunosuppressive drugs and novel therapies. All these subjects will be discussed as hot topics in the sessions of the Congress of Autoimmunity in April in Leipzig 2016. See you then. Bye-bye.